The buying guide that I have been working on for 2 years is here. Today we are going to talk about all fragrances currently available from Jo Malone. Jo Malone is a British-based brand created by Jo Malone, who originally was a florist, and she created this brand I think back in the 90s, and the whole aesthetic of the brand is for those who love simple, easygoing but chic fragrances. The brand was acquired then by Estee Lauder, but I think they maintained the aesthetic of the brand quite well. So if you love these kind of fragrances, this brand is definitely for you. We have a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in with the first collection, and it is the colognes. I personally have two of this collection, Orange Blossom and Nectarine Blossom and Honey. Let's start with Orange Blossom, which I bought actually quite recently. This is a stunning orange blossom with lilac. I know the name is Orange Blossom, but the lilac is quite strong here, so I would say it's equally parts of Orange Blossom and lilac. So you can consider it an Orange Blossom fragrance and also a lilac fragrance. It's quite simple, easygoing, has a little bit of a citrusy brightness to it, but not sharp, because the citrusy note used here is actually tangerine blossom. This is one of the best fresh orange blossom fragrances I've ever smelled. So highly recommend it. Now this collection has the reputation of having bad longevity and sillage, and I kind of don't understand people who complain about the performance on this collection, because it says cologne, and for a cologne concentration these fragrances actually perform very well. So I would categorize them as an eau de toilette, and some I would actually categorize as an eau de parfum. So for the majority of the fragrances we are talking about moderate longevity and sillage, which is also quite fitting with the scent profile, because in order to make fragrances long lasting or projecting, you will amp some notes or add fixative woody notes that will change the scent profile and will not make it as transparent and airy as these. Moving on to Nectarine Blossom and Honey, which was my favorite for a long time from the brand until I discovered Orange Blossom. And this is a fruity, transparent summer fragrance. It's so beautiful, quite sweet, with a nice juicy and crisp nectarine note in it, a little bit of peach, some green notes. For a fruity fragrance, this is quite fresh and easygoing and also transparent, like all the fragrances from this line. It's so beautiful, works beautifully in summer, and it's one of the fragrances that are on the long lasting side from this collection. Actually, I have a lot of experience with this fragrance where I can't smell it, but people can, and they compliment me on it. And it is the fruitiest, more girly offering from Jo Malone. If you love nectarine, peach fragrances, you will love this one. Let's move to the bestseller for a long time, a hyped fragrance. When I started my fragrance journey, everyone was raving about wood sage and sea salt. This is a very unique marine fragrance. It has notes of ambrette, seaweed, some sage, so a little bit aromatic, a little bit woody, salty, quite clean and musky. So one of the fragrances that you would wear if you are into the clean girl aesthetic. It's just clean and unique and unisex. This is one of the fragrances that men and women can wear easily. So if you are into these kind of smells, these clean marine, like with a little bit of a salty beachy touch, you will love wood sage and sea salt. When it comes to performance, this is one of the lightest, let's say, from this collection. Let's talk about citrusy fragrances, and the first one I have here is Grapefruit. And this is just a juicy, aromatic grapefruit. People compare it to Vetiver Pamplemousse that Jo Malone actually created for Zara. I get the resemblance, but they are definitely different takes. They have the same simple and transparent quality to them, but here you have more of an aromatic experience, and compared to Vetiver Pamplemousse, it's more unisex. It leans more feminine. Like, both of them are unisex fragrances, but if we have to compare them, then Vetiver Pamplemousse just has a slightly more masculine touch, while this one has a slightly more feminine touch, if that's any sense. What really also distinguishes this fragrance is the rosemary used, and it's again a beautiful, simple, transparent grapefruit fragrance. If you want something quite refreshing in summer and you love grapefruit, you will love this fragrance. Moving on to lime, and we have lime, basil, and mandarin. And people compare it to one of my absolute favorite fragrances. It is Mandarin Basilic from Guerlain, because they share a lot of notes. So basically mandarin and basil. I have to say I definitely prefer Mandarin Basilic to this fragrance, because this is a little bit too masculine for me. It is a unisex fragrance, but it definitely leans masculine because of the aromatic touch here. It's quite amped up in comparison, for example, with Mandarin Basilic. It's very streamlined, basic, simple fragrance compared with Mandarin Basilic, which in comparison is much more complex. So if you love these kind of fragrances, I would say if you are a woman, go for Mandarin Basilic, but if you are a man, then lime, basil, and mandarin is a better option for you. As you would expect, this is a little bit on the weaker side when it comes to the performance, so it's more of a weak longevity and sillage. Speaking about basil, the next fragrance is basil and neroli, and this is a true cologne. So you have the neroli, you have a little bit of the aromatic touch. It's a traditional cologne composition with the musk and vetiver in the base. Honestly, not groundbreaking. Like, when it comes to cologne, it's quite difficult to create something special. So I would recommend this fragrance if you love the brand and you want a cologne, you will go for this one. It is nice, but just not groundbreaking. And as you would expect with the scent profile, this is again on the weak side. So we are talking about weak longevity and sillage. Moving on to a fruity floral, and we have here fig and lotus. This is, as you would expect from the name, a fig fragrance. One of the best introduction, I would say, to figs. So if you are new to that note, I would highly recommend this fragrance because it's quite easygoing, not a lot of sharpness. It's quite almost watery, like because of the lotus note. It has a little bit of a musky vetiver base to my nose. Extremely easygoing, very nice unisex fig fragrance. You really can't go wrong with this fragrance. Just extremely simple, which is again the theme that I'm going to repeat myself again and again when it comes to this brand. Simple, easygoing, and transparent. Next, we have a standout fragrance. This is Pomegranate Noir. And this, I want to say, doesn't belong to Jo Malone. So when you smell it, you will never think about Jo Malone because it doesn't have the characteristics of the brand. So no transparency here. It's quite loud and quite complex. So you have here a spicy pomegranate with a woody base. I love it in the opening. It is so beautiful in the opening. In the dry down, however, the cloves is a little bit too much for me personally. But if you love cloves, you will love this fragrance. It is so strong here. You have the pomegranate also. You have a little bit of a rhubarb note, some woody notes, some patchouli. As I said, it just doesn't seem like a Jo Malone fragrance. It's extremely complex, so not a simple fragrance. And when it comes to longevity and sillage, it's also not a cologne at all. This is the one that I would say is actually an eau de parfum, because this is actually on the strong side when it comes to longevity and sillage. So if you love a fruity, spicy fragrance, especially if you love cloves, you will love Pomegranate Noir. Now let's move to floral fragrances. I've already talked about Orange Blossom. The next one is one also of my favorites from the brand, and it is Wild Bluebell. This is a cute fragrance, not in the sense that it is girly, but how innocent it smells. One of the fragrances that immediately when I smell it, I get an image in my head. So the image is this beautiful woman in a flowy white dress. She is in the woods. It is kind of a gloomy day, so the sun is not really shining, but it's not cold. And she is picking up this wildflower in her basket. And this is how this fragrance smells. It's so innocent, so effervescent, transparent, angelic in a way, I want to say. It has one of the most unique notes. So you have this bluebell accord, and it smells to me like dewdrops on a flower. Like, it's so beautiful. This is one of the fragrances that I'm thinking of adding to my fragrance collection. It's extremely unique, extremely beautiful and feminine, just a stunning fragrance. Highly, highly recommended. But I have to say, it is on the weak side when it comes to longevity and sillage. Let's move to one of the best sellers from the brand, and for a reason, and it's Peony and Blush Suede. Now, this is one of the most unique scents from the brand and one of the best from this collection in particular, in my opinion. It's a unique combination of this watery, rosy accord, which is the peony, mixed with a suede note. But the suede here is not animalic, it's quite a clean suede note, and it's definitely a standout fragrance. Is it my personal favorite peony fragrance? I have to admit, no. But I like it. This is not for everyone, so you have to test before buying. Don't blind buy it because it's quite unique. I happen to like it because of how unique and intriguing it is, and because it is quite elegant. The majority of Jo Malone fragrances are quite linear, but this one takes me on a journey. So this is why it's one of the fragrances that I would not recommend you to blind buy. You have to test it on your skin, and wait for the dry down, because it is in the dry down that you will get this clean suede note, but mixed with a nice sweet peony. The sweetness comes out in the very dry down. In the beginning, it's quite fresh, quite transparent, but the dry down is just magical. I love the dry down of Peony and Blush Suede. So if you are looking for a unique, elegant peony fragrance, Peony and Blush Suede. Next is the most simple fragrance from Jo Malone, in my opinion, and it is Red Roses, and it smells exactly like red roses. When you first spray it, you will get only the flower. So this beautiful, authentic smelling red rose. In the dry down, it will become a little bit more sharp in the sense that you will get the stem, the leaves in a way, but it's not a green rose in any way. It's the most authentic smelling rose fragrance I've ever smelled. So if you are a lover of these simple roses and you want like a true representation of a rose, Red Roses is the one for you. I can't smell anything else. I'm smelling a rose in front of me, a true representation of a rose. Red Roses. Next we have Poppy and Barley. Again, one of the fragrances I would say it almost belongs to the Cologne Absolu. It opens with this powdery poppy note, which is a fantasy note, of course. And in the dry down, it's a violet fragrance to me. Like I'm smelling violet and cosmetic powder mixed together. I did not notice any fig in this fragrance. If it wasn't for Fragrantica, when I looked up the notes, I saw fig, and honestly, I'm just not getting it at all. This is a fragrance that I would recommend for those who want an almost cosmetic powdery fragrance, but without going to a little bit of this vintage style when it comes to these kind of fragrances. Violet in particular, and fragrances that are inspired by cosmetics, like this powdery cosmetic smell, lipstick. For me personally, have a little bit of a vintage style to them. This is not it. This is on the sweet side, almost I want to say gourmand side when it comes to these fragrances. I love the smell, and I would have purchased it if it wasn't for the fact that on my skin the violet is a little bit too much. Like on paper now I'm smelling it and it smells just beautiful. Beautiful, a sweet, powdery, almost gourmand smell. So beautiful, but on my skin I am getting a little bit of the sharpness that is in the violet. So it's a beautiful scent, but I would say you have to test it on your skin. Another fruity fragrance is Blackberry and Bay. And the name says everything. So it's a fruity, aromatic or spicy fragrance. So it is this unique combination of bay leaf note mixed with this juicy, a little bit sweet, fruity notes like blackberry and also grapefruit. Very, very unique scent. And I have to admit, I was not a fan of the smell at all when I first tested it. But it's one of these scents that the more you use it, the more you like it. I actually now really like the smell. It is so unique. It's just very well balanced, enough amount of aromatic spiciness, of sweetness from blackberry, so fruity sweetness. It's so beautiful and totally unisex. One of the most unique scents in this collection. So highly recommend it if you are into these kind of notes. And I would say also test it more than once. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely one of these fragrances that will grow on you. So blackberry and bay. Another bestseller is a fruity floral fragrance, and it is English pear and freesia. And this is a mix of this bright fresh freesia note with this juicy pear, a hint of patchouli, and this powdery musk. So the musk here is not watery, it has more of this powdery consistency. It is beautiful, and it is the fragrance, I would say, that almost represents the aesthetic of this brand. Simple, easygoing, unique, transparent, chic, and natural smelling. It's one of the fragrances that I didn't like as much. Like, I didn't hate it when I first tested it because I got a lot of sharpness, and I am not a fan of freesia, to be honest. But then I am not getting the sharpness anymore. I don't know. It was just my first impression. So beautiful scent. They came out with a fragrance with quite a similar name, and it is English pear and sweet pea. This is more of the fruity side, more on the sweet side compared to English pear and freesia. So you have this pear note. It's more juicy in my opinion, more sweet than in English pear and freesia. You have a sweet pea and this musky base. Compared to English pear and freesia, this is a little bit more sweet, as I said, but also less complex in a way. I don't know. English pear and freesia, also still a simple fragrance. Compared to this one, just has more going on, a little bit more complexity to it. It's a nice fragrance, but for me personally, I prefer English pear and freesia, but still this is a nice scent. So if you want something a little bit more on the sweet, fruity side, I would go with English pear and sweet pea. An aromatic take on a floral is honeysuckle and davana. This is a honeysuckle, so you have this sweet floral aspect mixed with davana, which has this a little bit almost green resinous aspect to it. It's quite a unique smell that I personally love with white florals. They just work together very well, but it is the only fragrance that I know where honeysuckle is combined with davana. It's so beautiful and feminine. People compare it to Miss Dior Cherie. That was the favorite of a lot of people. I've never smelled that fragrance, so I can't really tell you is it similar to it or not. To my nose, this is a unique scent that I've never smelled before. Never smelled anything like it. Extremely feminine and elegant. It's also one of my favorites from the brand. So if you are a fan of honeysuckle, you will love this one. Let's move to a spicy yellow floral, and it is Mimosa and Cardamom. Again, a bestseller from the brand. Quite simple again. So you have mimosa, you have cardamom, and also some tonka bean, if I'm not mistaken. I personally don't like this fragrance. This is if you love mimosa and its all powderiness. Mimosa is a flower that has a lot of powdery green and woody nuances, but also some sweet nuances. So I personally love this sweet side of mimosa. I'm not a fan of the green powderiness. But here it's all about the green powdery nuance of mimosa, and mixed with the cardamom, it really gets enhanced. And the tonka bean definitely helps with the powderiness. So this is an extremely dry fragrance. And this is why I personally don't like it, but it is a bestseller of the brand. A lot of people really love it. And they feel like it's almost like baby powder. I don't feel like it. Yes, it is a powdery fragrance. Yes, it's dry, but it doesn't smell like baby powder. To me, it could be if it wasn't for the cardamom. But the cardamom makes this one a totally unisex fragrance. But I have to admit that it is quite a unique scent. So I would recommend for those who are looking for a green, powdery, woody mimosa. Not a sweet one. For some reason, this fragrance really shined on my skin, so had really good performance, but didn't have like a huge sillage. So it's kind of a moderate sillage in my opinion. So for a powdery mimosa scent, mimosa and cardamom. Let's move to two quite masculine offerings from this line, and both of them are woody fragrances. Not surprised. So starting with silver, birch, and lavender. This is a very nice masculine fragrance, but This scent profile, I have smelled so many times. It has been killed, actually overkilled. Like just ignoring the notes. If I smell this one, I feel like I've smelled it maybe 100 of times before. Now, people compare it to Sauvage from Dior. I don't get it so much. Like Sauvage is really a Roxanne. It's very like, it has more presence to it. This is much more demure compared to Sauvage. But for some reason it has the vibe. So I kind of get why people say it. So a very nice masculine fragrance. But I would say it's not unique enough. Moving on to English Oak and Hazelnut. I had so high hopes for this fragrance because I was expecting this woody nuttiness in it. I have to say, this is a woody fragrance. The nuttiness, like the hazelnut, I am not getting at all. It's only in the very dry down that I get like a hint of nuttiness, but I can't even say that it is hazelnut. It's mostly a woody fragrance. Oak and cedar. And for me, it's almost like I'm smelling more cedar than oak, to be honest. Very linear, has some citruses that are not mentioned in the notes. And it is quite a, I would say, easygoing, woody mint fragrance. But it's not unique. If like the hazelnut or the nuttiness in it was a little bit amped up, it would have made it quite special. But I am personally not getting it on paper or on skin. Like if it wasn't for the name, I don't think that I would even notice the slight nuttiness that you get in the very dry down. But it has great performance, I have to admit. So this and Pomegranate Noir have strong performance on my skin personally. There is one fragrance that is missing from this collection that I just couldn't get my hands on, and it is Earl Grey and Cucumber. I could not find this fragrance as a sample, and the only way to test it was to blind buy it, and I was not willing to. So this fragrance and another one that belongs to the other collection are the only two fragrances that are missing from the currently available fragrances from Jo Malone. And these were all the fragrances from the Cologne line. And before going to the Cologne Intense, let's talk about a limited edition fragrance. So every year during summer, Jo Malone comes with a limited edition cologne that has a little bit of a different packaging. I will leave a picture of the bottle here. This year they came out with Beach Blossom. As you would expect from the name, it's kind of a summer, beachy, tropical fragrance. Definitely on the fresh side. To me, it smells like lime, coconut water, a little bit of a minty effect, so some minty nuances here. And also for me, I smell frangipani. A very easy-going fresh summer fragrance, so don't expect a creamy suntan lotion or coconut, heavy coconut fragrance. This is not it. And it has also, interestingly, kind of a cucumber smell to it. I don't know how. So I am just saying what I'm smelling, not the notes that are listed on Fragrantica. I liked it in the opening. In the dry down, it's just something that I've smelled before. So quite a generic tropical summer fragrance, but it is beautiful. And I also really love the limited edition bottles. So if you love more of the fresh tropical fragrance, I mean really fresh, I think you will like this one. Now let's get to the Cologne Intense collection. And honestly, I don't know about the name, like what is the meaning of Cologne Intense? The fragrances that belong to this collection are just an eau de parfum, so I don't know. Let's not complicate things. This collection has more of the dark bottles and they are definitely more intense. They have, and the scent profile is totally different. So we are not talking about simple, easy-going fragrances or transparent fragrances. This is more your niche-like fragrances. They are more of heavy fragrances. Some are still simple, but the notes, the construction, and the smell of the fragrances a little bit on the heavy side. Now let's start with the new release, and it is TAIF Rose. And this is what you would expect from a dark ambery rose scent. It is beautiful. I really love it. It has an interesting coffee note. Shockingly, I've never tested rose and coffee fragrances. What was it? Intense Cafe, was it from Montal? And another one from Mancera that really puts the scent profile on the market. There's also one that was discontinued from Atelier Cologne, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I've never tested any of these, but just regardless, this smell is so beautiful. So you have rose, a dark rose with some ambery notes and coffee, and I would say I am smelling oud. Not listed in the notes, but I'm smelling it. It's slightly on the sweet side. Like I saw that people compare it to oud bouquet. I get it in the sense that the fragrance is quite dense as that one, but it's not as sweet as oud bouquet. And it's not as oudy as that fragrance. Here I am getting oud, as I said, but it is in the background. So overall, I really, really like it. It's mostly coffee and rose that I'm smelling. It is really a beautiful, beautiful scent. I'm so sorry that I can't compare it to others that have the scent profile, but the scent itself, I really, really like. This is for me a beautiful winter fragrance. I actually would definitely recommend it. Let's move to a jasmine fragrance, Jasmine, Sambac, and Marigold. A beautiful representation of a strong jasmine smell. So everything is about the jasmine here. So you have different notes. If you look at fragrance, you see ylang-ylang and honey, if I'm not mistaken, and benzoin, but it's not like really a vanilla or a creamy or a sweet jasmine. It's just a fully representative fragrance of a jasmine smell. It's only if I search for it that I will get like a little bit of the rest of the notes. So it's kind of me like the one in the Cologne collection dedicated to red roses. Kind of in the same vibe, but definitely much more stronger. For me, jasmine has definitely a more indolic and strong smell to do rose. Only natural to be a more stronger representation, and that it belongs to the Cologne Intense. An authentic smelling jasmine that is strong, but I wouldn't consider it indolic or animalic in a way. Like it is borderline, like it's going there, but it's not. So highly recommend actually this fragrance for anyone who loves jasmine. I personally just decluttered it because I found myself not using it, and I am kind of going into more of either creamy or fresh florals and not anymore this kind of scent profile. This is why I decluttered it, not because it is a bad smell. Actually, it is a bestseller and for a reason. Let's move to a red hibiscus. That was released last year, if I'm not mistaken. And the moment I smelled this fragrance, I fell in love with it. This is just a beautiful winter floral fragrance. You can't wear it all year around. Also Jasmine, Sambac, and Marigold. But most of these fragrances have enough of presence to them to be a winter floral, so you can wear it easily during winter. Here you have the hibiscus note, which has a little bit of this freshness. So it has a slightly tangy feeling with a sweet vanilla and also an orchid note and an ambery base. So beautiful, easygoing, feminine fragrance. You will love this fragrance if you love fragrances like L'Interdit Rouge. Not that they are similar, but they have the same vibe to them. So this is definitely a recommended fragrance, also because it's quite unique. Like this hibiscus flower note or accord is very, very unique in fragrances. And usually when it is used as a tropical or fresh floral. But this winter vanilla take is definitely unique, and I really, really like it here. Highly also recommend this fragrance. Let's move on to a Scarlet Poppy. This is a beautiful tonka vanilla powdery fragrance. Like I am getting here a lot of notes that are not mentioned on Fragrantica. So I am getting tonka, a little bit of a almond feeling. Could be the heliotrope, gives a little bit of this almondy feeling. A lot of vanilla, which is also not listed. In the beginning, I almost wanted to say it has a little bit of tuberose, but in the dry down, you are not getting it really. They say poppy is used here, but I'm not really getting it. It's more about tonka, about vanilla. Very, very beautiful scent. Beautiful. And I would highly recommend it if you want something of a sweet tonka, like a vanilla tonka fragrance with a little bit of a almondy touch. Like the heliotrope here is beautiful. Beautiful. So I don't know about the name. Why is it called Scarlet Poppy? I don't know, but beautiful scent that I would highly, highly, highly recommend. Let's move to Tuberose Angelica, and this is again a fully representative fragrance of a tuberose smell without being indolic, without being animalic. The Angelica here is really light. It just emphasizes a little bit of the green facets that tuberose has, but it is not a green tuberose fragrance. To me, again, we are talking about a true smell of tuberose, but eliminating the indolic animalic touch of it. In the opening, it's a different story, but I'm talking about the dry down. In the dry down, it's just a strict tuberose with a little bit of ambery feeling to it. So slightly green, slightly bubblegum. No, it's not even bubblegum, it's creamy. It's more creamy sweet. So a little bit of a creamy sweetness, a little bit of a green touch, but just a beautiful representation of tuberose, one of the best tuberose fragrances on the market. But you have to get through the beginning, the opening of this fragrance, where it is a little bit loud, a little bit sharp. The Angelica is a little bit more present. The dry down is beautiful. Next, we have one of the best sellers of the brand, and it is Velvet, Rose and Oud. And this is an Oud Rose combination, but westernized. One of the best introductions into this combination. Has a little bit of a sweet touch because of the praline. If you see the notes, you will think definitely Oud Bouquet, but it has nothing to do with Oud Bouquet. For this one, I think more Oud Satin Mood, Rose d'Arabie from Armani Privé, maybe a little bit of Rose Umayyad, but that one was a little bit more sweet and fruity. This is more rosy, let's say. Here the emphasis is on the rose, not the oud. So when you compare it with the others, it's just more easygoing, let's say, and extremely elegant fragrance. This is elegance in a bottle. It is a bestseller for a reason. One of the best Western rose oud fragrances that is unisex and chic and just beautiful. So highly recommended and has amazing performance. This is very long lasting, projection is quite strong. So I mean, for the price tag, if we compare it to others that have the same vibe, the same scent profile, like Oud Satin Mood, let's say, or Rose d'Arabie, I would say this is more easygoing and also easier on your wallet. Speaking about oud, the next one is Oud and Bergamot. Think a more masculine counterpart to Velvet, Rose and Oud. And it is oud, a little bit citrusy, but mostly what you are getting here is the cedar mixed with the oud. And it complements the oud beautifully. Again, it's not a stinky, overpowering oud. We are talking about a very light, elegant oud. The softness that you will get from this fragrance, although an oud one, in the dry down, makes it actually a fragrance that I also can say you can wear during summer. It is more on the easygoing side when it comes to oud fragrances, an easy reach almost fragrance. What I'm getting mostly is the cedar. I am getting the oud, but the cedar is mostly what I'm getting, is the star of the show here, let's say. So for a masculine, easygoing oud and cedar fragrance, Oud and Bergamot. Next, we have a totally unisex fragrance, and it is Vetiver and Golden Vanilla. The mix between these two, like, honestly, when I saw the notes, I saw the name of the fragrance, I said, okay, this will not work for me. And it didn't in the beginning. Like, when you first spray it, it's a little bit too masculine. The dry down is totally unisex because the vanilla really comes out. These two notes are a match made in heaven in this fragrance. I don't know how they did it, but I think it's made possible because of a beautiful cardamom and tea note that makes this fragrance softer, easygoing, and so beautiful. You really get the tea here. I personally get more of the tea again in the dry down than in the beginning. So I almost want to categorize this fragrance as a tea scent. In the opening, the vetiver was a little too much mixed with the cardamom. That also is one of the notes that when you first spray it, it is a little bit loud, sharp in the opening. So I was not a fan, but the dry down is so beautiful. Just enough vanilla and then the spicy tea mixed with the vetiver. It is so elegant. Such an elegant, easygoing, I want to say almost signature worthy scent. Like, it's not for everyone, but it is soft and an easy wear to make it a signature scent. So yes, a fragrance that is not talked about, but I would highly recommend. I think it's because of the opening that people do not give this fragrance the credit that it deserves. Next, we have Cypress and Grapevine, and this is a totally masculine fragrance. Let's start by saying it's not unique. Again, it's something that I've smelled, maybe not exactly the same, but this kind of a masculine fragrance I've smelled many times before. So you have here a nice cypress note and ambroxan. I know it's not mentioned in the notes. I am getting ambroxan here. It's just a simple, woody, aromatic masculine fragrance. Nothing special, nothing outstanding, I would say, in this one. Like, I feel like when it comes to others from this brand, this just doesn't stand out, in my opinion. If you are a man, I bet you have something similar to this fragrance. But if you love the brand, yeah, go for it. Next, we have the new fragrance, Hinoki and Cedarwood. So again, we have cedar, but here it's a totally different take. This is more clean, almost soapy-like, and I definitely prefer it to Cypress and Grapevine. You get the hinoki, you get the cedar, but it's not sharp at all. It just, for me, smells like a luxurious soap, and I love it. Like, it's not totally soapy, but I don't know why. When I smell it, I'm smelling an extremely expensive soap. So beautiful, such a beautiful masculine fragrance that for me is unique. So the difference between this one and the previous one is that this one is giving me something that I didn't smell before, and I love it for it. And I definitely get this Japanese aesthetic. Hinoki is a note that is like a, what is it, a cypress tree, I think. It's very Japanese. I don't know if it's in my head, but I definitely get it. It's beautiful and unique. So I would recommend this one over the Cedarwood and Grapevine. Next, we have Dark Amber and Ginger Lily. In the opening, this is a sharp ginger and cardamom fragrance. Again, we are talking about two notes that when you first spray, there are some notes that you have to wait for the dry down, like cardamom and saffron and oud. These kind of notes, when you first spray them, are a little bit too harsh, but in the dry down is when the magic happens. So this is the case with this fragrance. I'm not a fan of it in the opening. In the dry down, I'm getting a clean ginger, just a slightly hint of ginger, a slight amount of cardamom, but quite peppery. Totally masculine fragrance. So I don't get the reference that people compare it to Cristal Noir, the feminine fragrance from Versace. This is not it at all. I'm not getting, yes, it has a pepper note, but nothing else, I would say. And a little bit of ginger, which combines these two fragrances, but this is totally, for me, masculine. If I want to be generous, I would say unisex, leaning masculine. Is it a bad fragrance? Absolutely not. It's not a bad one, but it just, for me, lacks something. Like, yeah, there is something missing in this fragrance to make it complete in a way. And this is why I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I'm not getting the reference of dark amber at all. It's a little bit more of a sandalwood, let's say, in the base. So yeah, this is just it's a nice fragrance, but again, not groundbreaking. And I feel like it has potential, but it just needs something. Anyway, moving on to another bestseller, Myrrh and Tonka. And again, people go crazy with this fragrance. It's quite simple. You have myrrh, but mostly you have tonka. Tonka bean is here the star of the show, and you have a dusty tonka. Extremely dry. In the notes, they list also lavender and vanilla. I am not getting any vanilla here. It's just, for me, tonka, and tonka. And a little bit of myrrh. And that's it. So this ambery nuances that myrrh has, mixed with a dusty tonka, and that's it. It's not sweet, it's just a dry tonka fragrance with a little bit of a myrrh. And I have to say, I don't like this fragrance. I'm so sorry. Everyone loves it. I personally don't. It's just too simple and too dry. It's totally unisex. So if you are expecting more of a sweet, more like warm ambery fragrance, this is not it. And with that, we have finished the Cologne Intense. Next collection is the Absolute. And these come in these like gradient colored bottles. I love these bottles, by the way. Like, I love the whole aesthetic of the brand, I have to be honest. They have only 3 fragrances. I have only 2. The one that is missing is Violet and Amber. I could not get my hands on that fragrance at all, not even sampling it. Let's start with Rose and White Musk. And here is again a rose oud combination from the notes. Honestly, I barely get any oud here at all. It's mostly about a deep, dark rose. The emphasis here is more on the rose. So compared to Velvet Rose and oud, here you definitely get the oud. Here it's mostly rose, and it's more of an ambery rose in my opinion. TAIF rose is more sweet, while this one is just rose and amber made a little bit transparent in a way. It's a beautiful rose scent, I am not going to lie. I really enjoyed it. In the same vibe as Guerlain, the fragrance that was released last year, Rose Amira. So this deep, dark, ambery rose without any sweetness, like barely any sweetness here. And I like it. This is for those who love rose. And compared to that one from Guerlain, I actually prefer this one. So a good ambery dark rose scent if you are into these kind of scent profiles. That is more of an easy wear compared to Guerlain Rose Amira. The next one is Gardenia and Oud. This is a combination that I've never heard about before. And it really surprised me because it is a beautiful gardenia scent. I have to mention again that you have to go through the opening. The opening with gardenia and oud is a little bit sharp, as you would expect. So you have to wait for the dry down to get the beauty of this fragrance. It's quite simple. It's everything that you get is this gardenia with just a hint of oud. So I'm not talking about a stinky or poniardy or even a predominant oud note. It's just gardenia that is a little bit dark in a way, has a mysterious vibe to it, with a little bit of a clean musk added to my nose, like this is what I'm smelling. And for some reason, I'm smelling just a hint of magnolia, but the star of the show of gardenia. When we talk about gardenia, usually it's white, it's crisp, it's maybe creamy or maybe fresh, a little bit green, maybe indolic, but this take on gardenia is quite unique. Never smelled anything like it. So highly recommended for true gardenia lovers who want a unique scent. But I have to say that the gardenia here is slightly old-fashioned, and this is the only thing that I don't like about it. Otherwise, it's a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Now, there is another collection from Jo Malone called The Archives. Very difficult to find, at least like here in Italy, I could not smell it anywhere. So I don't know if it's exclusively online or is it maybe in just few flagship or boutiques. So I'm not going to mention this collection. However, I have one fragrance from them, which I blind bought, and it is Blue Agave and Cacao. And this is a spicy, warm, vanilla, very transparent cacao. It's quite a unique scent, I have to say. It's very, very unique because usually you associate cacao with more of, you know, warm, sweet, more ambery takes, let's say, or gourmand takes. And here it's made very transparent, a little bit sweet, but not too much. There is a lot of cinnamon, which I like here. And overall, don't laugh, this fragrance just reminds me of Coca-Cola. No one said that they get that, it's only me. And overall, it's a nice fragrance that I would not recommend for you to go out of your way and get, because it's also quite unique, not for everyone, so not a safe blind buy at all. I am personally decluttering this fragrance. It's just I don't know, it doesn't fit exactly in my wardrobe because it is so unique and strange in a way. But if you are into a sparkling, almost watery cacao with a little bit of cinnamon, with a little bit of sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. And I forgot to say, and linden blossom, because there is linden blossom in this fragrance. It's not the most predominant note, but you can definitely get it. Tell me in the comments down below if this collection is available in some stores and which one. And with that, I have finished all Jo Malone fragrances. Of course, they come out every year at Christmas with a scent. I have actually quite a few of them. There was Snowdrops, I think it's called, Ginger Biscuit. That one was my favorite. They came out last year with Sphere and Artemisia, but these are always sold out very, very quickly. So I'm not going to mention any of them because they are not available anymore. I just wish for them to make Ginger Biscuit permanent fragrance because it is a beautiful scent. And that was it. That was quite a long video and we had a lot to talk about. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. If you did, please give me a thumb up and consider subscribing to my channel, and tell me in the comments down below, what is your favorite Jo Malone fragrance? For me personally, it's Orange Blossom. This is my favorite one, followed by Nectarine Blossom and Honey. And I am thinking about adding Bluebell. I have others that I like, but they are not like for me personally because they are not suitable for my lifestyle, let's say. For example, the two Absolute ones that I've talked about, the Velvet Rose and Oud, Scarlet Poppy, Red Hibiscus, a lot of favorites from this brand. I really love Jo Malone, and I specifically love the Cologne collection because it is so easygoing and fresh and summer, and I'm a freshy lover, so not a surprise that I have a lot of favorites from that collection in particular. Looking forward to see your picks and your comments down below. I have the playlist of all the buying guides that I did in the past in the description down below, so if you enjoyed this one, you can binge watch the rest. I also have dedicated this year to British brands, so you will find again in the description the playlist of all the previous episodes that I did. I already did on Orman Jane, Tamine, Atkinson's, Electimos, many brands. So if you are into British perfumery, then please check these videos, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload any new video. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao!